Okay, so say you're looking to play Fur Fighters on the computer using the Dreamcast version. If you do a search on the internet, you'll find results like this. This particular website, I mean, if you go here, you'll find something. Probably this website looks like this. I don't know what happens when you click here, but that's up to you. But when you get that, you'll download that, and then you're going to want to Flycast. Flycast is the emulator, and you're going to want to look for the releases. So there will be a GitHub, uh, and the releases will be down here. There's various ones for different operating systems. Uh, the person in question asked about Windows, and so when you click that, you'll download a zip file. I've already got one right here. Um, and so once you extract it, so you click on this, click extract all, then it will give you the application. So when you open Flycast, it will set some stuff up. It'll ask you where your game is. You're going to want to point it to the file you downloaded or the directory containing that. After that, there are different settings. Uh, the controls, you can use a controller. I used like an 8-bit do Ultimate 2 controller. And so it'll appear here. You can go to map to change different things. I've had pretty good luck remapping the buttons to joysticks, and that'll change kind of how mini games act, but it makes the game generally more enjoyable, I think, otherwise. For the Switch, A, B, X, and Y are all flipped around, so you're going to want to map things like that if you're using a Switch controller like I am. But, map it however it works for you. After that, you're going to want to go to video settings. Vulkan is pretty good for Linux. It's pretty good for anything it's on, but DirectX is probably the best option for Windows. Um, there are things that degrade performance but increase accuracy. Depending on how powerful your computer is, you're going to want to go for more accurate if it's powerful. You know, less accurate if you're having trouble getting a consistent frame rate. Um, the internal resolution here kind of determines how it's going to try and render things and then scale. Integer scaling is going to give you integral multiples of this internal resolution. Um, Probably be a little faster, but it's going to be a lot less fun if you can't find, a really good match for those two things. VSync should probably be on unless you run into issues with it. Uh, I went with full frame buffer emulation, and with a larger resolution, you may want a larger pixel buffer size. I went with 4 gigabytes, shadows and fog enabled. Uh, I went with copy rendered textures to VRAM. It says it's more accurate. I went all the way up with anisotropic filtering, which should help with filtering textures over distances. I show the FPS counter when I'm testing stuff, uh, and it'll help you kind of find out what settings affect the frame rate. Depending on your computer, it may not affect it at all, may affect it quite a bit. Uh, and I went with forced linear here. Um, but you can use the default texture filtering as well. Finally, there's show VMU in game. This shows you kind of what the VMU would have looked like when you're in the controller. if that interests you. After that, so once you find Fur Fighters in your file system, then you can open it, and it should play pretty well. There are different versions of the game. I've run into a few issues that are game breaking in different versions. So if you find a few different ROMs, then all the better. Some of them have audio issues. Some of them have late game breaking issues and bugs, or bugs that happen later on in the game. But between all of the different versions, I have been able to play through the whole game. And the opening cutscenes seem to have a lot of graphical artifacts. Those seem to be better with the settings I chose here. But here you go. Fur Fighters, Dreamcast, and PC. I had a lot of trouble with various oh yeah, sorry. Had a lot of trouble with various widescreen resolutions. The game is pretty hard-coded to be at 4:3, and will start culling assets on the frame once you go beyond that. So, unfortunately, you can't play like triple wide monitors with this game without it kind of cutting off stuff in a, in a not visually presentable way. If you have any questions, let me know. Smash that like button, subscribe, etc.